Bill and Henry are sledding in the Canadian wilderness with a pack of sled dogs pulling a coffin. A pack of wolves, led by a she-wolf, is closing in on them. At first, the she-wolf takes some food from the dogs, but later lures the dogs one by one away from the sled team so that the rest of the wolf pack can eat the dogs. The wolves also manage to eat Bill. Henry continues his journey with only 2 dogs and is rescued by a group of men. The wolf pack, starving and desperate, finds a moose and enjoys the big feast. After eating, the wolf pack splits up, leaving the she-wolf with 3 male wolves. One Eye, a young leader, and a 3-year-old. The 3 male wolves fight each other and One Eye is the last one remaining. One Eye and the she-wolf travel together, eventually encountering a Native American village and stealing rabbits from nearby traps. The she-wolf gives birth to some cubs, one of which is gray. One Eye searches for food while the she-wolf watches over the cubs, feeding them and steering them away from the entrance of the cave. However, because food is scarce, all of the cubs die except for the gray cub. One Eye is also killed by a nearby lynx. After another famine, the gray cub nearly dies, but the she-wolf returns with much needed meat. One day, as the she-wolf is out hunting, the gray cub leaves the cave and begins exploring the world. He is clumsy, but eventually learns to walk and climb. The gray cub continues to grow and explores the surrounding environment each day. One day, the cub encounters a group of Native American men and he is drawn to them. They examine him and name him White Fang. The she-wolf arrives wanting to protect him, but she begins to act strange. The men recognize her as Quiche, a runaway dog, and they take her and White Fang with them. A man named Gray Beaver becomes their owner. After camp is set up, White Fang explores the world of man, examining people, objects, and fire. He gets into a small fight with another puppy, Lip Lip, and gets burned by the flame. Quiche is traded to another owner and White Fang goes after her. However, Gray Beaver beats White Fang until he learns to submit. Alone, White Fang learns submission to man, especially to Gray Beaver, who protects him from Lip Lip and the other dogs. White Fang reunites with Quiche, but she doesn't recognize him and snarls if he gets too close to her new puppies. There is a famine in the land and the village is struggling to get food. They eat the last of their supplies and decide to move camp. However, White Fang hides and stays behind. Because of his survival skills, he manages to hunt enough meat for himself, even killing Lip Lip and other wild stray wolves. White Fang begins to feel lonely and so he attempts to find Gray Beaver and the others. After finding the camp, after days of searching, he is welcomed by Gray Beaver and thankful to be alive. Gray Beaver decides to sell and trade furs at a fort that is frequented by hopeful gold miners. His fur trade does well, during which White Fang and the other dogs pick fights with the other dogs that move in through town. It's also the first time that White Fang sees a white man. As Gray Beaver gains more wealth, he begins to drink whiskey, which costs him his fortune. The fort cook named Beauty Smith sees White Fang and wants to own him. Knowing that Gray Beaver loves whiskey, he trades whiskey for White Fang. At first, White Fang wants to return to Gray Beaver, but he soon learns that his new master is Beauty Smith, who beats him. Beauty Smith continues to abuse White Fang, leaving him in a cage to fight other dogs. White Fang likes the fights and kills every dog put in front of him. However, he is introduced to a bulldog, who presents a challenge to White Fang because of his low physical stature. The bulldog clamps its teeth around White Fang's throat and nearly kills him until a man named Whedon Scott saves him. Whedon Scott buys White Fang and leaves. Whedon Scott learns that White Fang is intelligent and tries to develop a mastery over him by feeding him and petting him. At first, White Fang is resistant because of the abuse under Beauty Smith, but he soon learns to trust Whedon Scott. Over time, White Fang learns to love Whedon Scott, who eventually takes White Fang to his estate in San Francisco. In San Francisco, White Fang learns new rules and how to interact with his new world. There are several animals on the estate, including a sheepdog named Collie who constantly chases him. White Fang protects Whedon Scott and his family from an escaped prisoner, but suffers life-threatening injuries. He recovers after the surgery. In the end, White Fang is loved by the family as the Blessed Wolf and starts a family of his own with Collie. If this video was helpful, please share it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe for more Minute Book Reports, and thanks for watching.